ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 12, text number 23-24. Utsangan Naradaha Jajñe. Utsangan Narado Jajñe. Dakshaha Angustat Swayambhuvaha. Daksho Angustat Swayambhuvaha. Pranad Vasistha Sanjataha. Pranad Vasistha Sanjato. Bhrgu Tvachi Karat Kratu. Bhrgustvachi Karat Kratu. Utsanga Narado Jajñe. Daksho Angustat Swayambhuvaha. Pranad Vasistha Sanjato. Bhrgustvachi Karat Kratu. Utsanga Narado Jajñe. Daksho Angustat Swayambhuvaha. Pranad Vasistha Sanjato. Bhrgustvachi Karat Kratu. Utsangat, by transcendental deliberation. Naradaha, Mahamuni Narada, Jajñe, was generated. Dakshaha, Daksha, Angustat, from the thumb. Swayambhuvaha, of Brahma. Pranat, from the life air or breathing. Vasistha, Vasistha, Sanjataha, was born. Bhrgu, the sage Bhrgu. Tvachi, from the touch. Karat, from the hand. Kratu, the sage Kratu. Translation and purport by Jagadguru Śrīla Prabhupada. Narada was born from the deliberation of Brahma, which is the best part of his body. Vasistha was born from his breathing, Daksha from a thumb, Bhrgu from his touch, and Kratu from his hand. Please repeat the translation. Narada was born from the deliberation of Brahma, which is the best part of his body. Vasistha was born from his breathing, Daksha from a thumb, Bhrgu from his touch, and Kratu from his hand. Purport by Śrīla Prabhupada. Narada was born from the best deliberation of Brahma because Narada was able to deliver Supreme Lord to anyone he liked. The Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be realized by any amount of Vedic knowledge or by any number of penances. But a pure devotee of the Lord like Narada can deliver the Supreme Lord by his goodwill. The very name Narada suggests that he can deliver the Supreme Lord. Nara means the Supreme Lord and Dha means one who can deliver. That he can deliver the Supreme Lord does not mean that the Lord is like a commodity that can be delivered to any person. But Narada can deliver to anyone the transcendental loving service of the Lord as a servitor, friend, parent or lover, or as one may desire out of one's own transcendental love for the Lord. In other words, it is Narada only who can deliver the path of Bhakti Yoga, the highest mystic means for attainment of the Supreme Lord. Next verse, I'll recite myself. Pulaho nabito jagne Pulastya karnayo rishihi Angira mukato akshnotrir Marichir manaso abhavat. Pulastya was generated from the ears, Angira from the mouth, Atri from the eyes, Marici from the mind, and Pulaha from the navel of Brahma. Doesn't see Bhakti Vedanta. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we see in the last verse the 10 sons of Brahma's names were identified. Now from which specific bodily part of Brahma these 10 sons took birth is explained in these 2 verses. Out of these 10 sons, one son is very much glorified, who is known as Narada, who took birth from Utsanga Narado Jagne, from the best part of Brahma, that is deliberation. Deliberation comes from intelligence. So which is able to discriminate what is best and what is bad, what is good and what is bad. Or it can give us the realization, the theoretical knowledge, what we understand, the intelligence can process it and bring it out as realization. That consciousness of able to understand the subject and able to visualize that subject is realization. So Narada took birth from that specific part of intelligence. That's why he is considered as the greatest of all the 10 sons. Then the other sons, Vasistha from the breathing, Pranad Vasishtaha, Daksho Angushtat from one of the thumb, Dakshaha, Bhrgus Tvachihi, Bhrgu from the touch, Karat Kratuhu from the hand, it was Kratu. Then next, Pulastya Karnayo Rishihi, from the ears it was Pulastya, Angira Mukataha, from the mouth it was Angira, Akshnaha Atrir, from the eyes it was Atri Muni, Marichir Manaso Abhavat, Marici came from the mind, and Pulaho Nabito Jagne, Pulaha took birth from the navel. In that way, all the 10 sons have been described here. And in the purport specifically, Prabhupada glorifies about the position of Narada Muni. So what is so special? It says, Narada was born from the best deliberation of Brahma because Narada was able to deliver Supreme Lord to anyone and everyone. The word Narada itself is defined as Nara means the Supreme Lord and Da means one who can deliver. So he can deliver the Supreme Lord to everyone and anyone. So is the Supreme Lord like a commodity as a vastu? Can we pass on to others? No, Supreme Lord, here it says the Bhakti Yoga, the devotion service to the Lord can be delivered only by the representative of the Supreme Lord in the form of Narada Muni. So Narada can deliver to anyone the transcendental loving service of the Lord in any of the 5 rasas. And Narada only can deliver the path of Bhakti Yoga, the highest mystic means for attainment of the Supreme Lord. So in that way, Narada Muni is glorified. And we have various verses in various places which explain about the transcendental qualities of Narada Muni. His preachings to Vyasadeva, entire Bhagavatam, most of the people are Narada Muni's disciples. Starting from Vyasadeva, the first canto we come across. Then, who else? Dhruva Maharaj. Then, Prahlad, Priyavrata, the 5th canto. 6th canto, Chitraketu, Valmiki, Bali, Like that, many people are been, like they are all inspired by Narada Muni. Prachina Barhi, 4th canto. So the whole perspective is, how do we understand? Even Vasudeva, the father of Lord Krishna, even he takes association from Narada Muni in the 11th canto. So he glorifies Narada's position by a couple of verses. This is prayers by Vasudeva to Narada Muni, he says. Shri Vasudeva Uvacha. Vasudeva Uvacha it is, actually Vasudeva Uvacha. Bhagavan Bhavato Yatra Swastaye Sarva Dehinam Krupananam Yata Pitror Uttama Shloka Vartamanam. He says, by dear Lord, Bhagavan, Bhavato Yatra, your visit to this specific place, like Yata Pitror, like a father compassionate upon his sons, is Swastaye Sarva Dehinam, is for the benefit of all living entities. Whenever pure devotee visits a place, all the living entities are benefited, because by his association, every living entity can get an opportunity of advancement in spiritual life, knowingly or unknowingly. And because their nature is Krupananam, of the people who are most miser, wretched, unfortunate, and Uttama Shloka Vartmanam, and those who follow the principles of the Supreme Lord by practicing Bhakti Yoga, both will get benefited. The visit of an association of a pure devotee, devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness will get benefited, and common men who are unfortunate to worship the Lord, even they get benefited in the association of pure devotees. And further he says, Bhutanam Deva Charitam Dukkaya cha Sukaya cha Sukayaiva hi sadhunam Twadrusham Achyutatmanam. Deva Charitam, the activities of the demigods, Dukkaya cha Sukaya cha, they bring happiness and misery for Bhutanam, for all living entities. If demigods become angry, they will punish us. If they become happy, they will give everything in abundance. But Sukaya eva hi sadhunam. But sadhus, there is nothing like dukkha for them. If you are associated with a sadhu, we get only sukha. But the activities of the great saints like you, Tvadrusham sadhunam, because you have accepted Achyuta Atmanam, the Supreme Lord, as your life and soul, Sukaya evahi, we result only in happiness of all beings. So this is the perspective. Like one example we see in 5th canto, there were a group of dacoits who were worshipping Kali Mata. They wanted to satisfy her. The leader wanted one son, and for that purpose they wanted to sacrifice one man animal, means a man who is in the stage like an animal, Dumbo. So they were looking everywhere, they found one person, but the last moment that person ran away because of he is going to be sacrificed. Who will stay there? So they all became panicked, then they started searching. They found Jadabharata. They thought he is a perfect personality, hefty personality, but like a Dumbo. They picked him up, took him to the place, then they gave him bath, then they decorated him, they gave him food, and when he was taken to the sacrificial area where he was about to be sacrificed for Kali, Mother Kali could not tolerate the offense of these ignorant people towards a greatest Vaishnava. At the last moment, she burst out of her deity, took up the sword which is meant to kill Jadabharata, and she chopped off all the heads of all those dacoits. Now, they are trying to satisfy her, but what was the result? It resulted in their own death. And just one example, their happiness and distress, the devatas can become infuriated, the devatas can become very happy. But in association with the devotees, there is only one thing, there is only happiness, there is no distress at all. That is the point being communicated here. And in Chaitanya Bhagavata, there is one specific verse which glorifies the value of association of Vaishnavas. It says, Siddhir bhavati va neti samshayo achyuta sevinam. For a person who is serving the Supreme Lord, there is a confusion whether he will attain perfection or not. There is no guarantee. But nishamsayastu tad bhakta paricharyara atmanam. But there is assurance. If one serves a Vaishnava, he is assured of going back home, back to God. Perfection is assured. Because Supreme Lord himself says, Madbhaktaha pujyatikaha in the 11th canto. My devotees are more worshipable than me because they are more merciful than the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita, we see, after explaining the Sarvadharman Parityatya, in the next verse, Krishna says, 4 categories of people do not teach. Asuyaha, Abhaktaha, those who are not engaged in devotional service. Like that 4 categories of people, Krishna says, do not teach among these 4 categories of people. But devotees, out of compassion for all living entities, they go everywhere, like Prabhupada. Did he go to give Bhagavatam lecture in among a devotees assembly? No. He went to a place where all unfortunate people, hippies, he went, stayed among them, got their attention, gave them Krishna consciousness by lecture, by prasadam, by kirtan. In various ways he tried to attract different mentality of people, then raised their standard. So that is the importance of Vaishnava association. In some way or other, one associates with a Vaishnava, it is for their eternal benefit. Bhagavatam glorifies the same verse was there in 3 places in Bhagavatam, and with different words variation. It says, Tulayama lavenapi na swargam na punarbhavam. Bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam ki mutashisha. Tula means in a balance. One side you keep lavenapi. Lava means 1/9 of a second or 1/11 of a second. The association of a Vaishnava in one side of a balance. Na swargam equal to swarga. Na punah pavam, even liberation. Martyanam ki mutashisha. What to speak of worldly pleasures which are insignificant in compared to liberation, heavenly pleasures, is insignificant in the form of an association of a Vaishnava. A momentary association is more glorious than worldly opulences and all. The same verse comes at 3 places. The 1st canto, 4th canto, and in the 11th canto. So we can understand how important it is to have association of Vaishnavas. And Narada Muni is the best Vaishnava. And in the life of Narada Muni itself, the importance of association of Vaishnavas is explained. In the 1st canto we see, who was Narada Muni? He explains about his previous life. What did he say? He was the son of a maid servant. What he was doing? He served Maha Bhagavatas when they are trying to do Chaturmasya Vrata. In that way, he got an opportunity to associate with Maha Bhagavatas. One day, with their permission, he accepted their remnants. As soon as he accepted their remnants, he became a different personality from next. He picked up the mood and emotion and feelings of all the devotees. He raised it to that standard. And by constantly hearing about the glories of the Lord in the association of that devotees, Maha Bhagavatas, that devotional service within him sprouted to a highest level. And he came up to a point that he was completely to the stage of a pure devotee, without to the standard of devotional service. He became so sincere and serious. Now, and in the 7th canto, there is one more story about him as an Upabarhana, one of the Gandharva. So, who fell down further as son of a maid servant. The entire story is explained in various other Puranas, in Narada Purana and all. How did Narada attain these 3 lives actually? First, actually, he was son of Brahma. So, when in some other day of Brahma, when he took birth, he was asked by Brahma to create progeny. like all other sons. But Narada Muni said, no, I don't want to create progeny, I wanted to be a brahmachari. So already he got that first reversal from Sanakadi Kumaras. So Brahma this time became angry and he cursed Narada Muni that because you have disobeyed my order, you will take birth as a Gandharva by name Upabarhana and you will marry 50 women. And after that, you will become the son of a maid servant. And with the association of the Vaishnavas, you will quit that body by becoming a devotee. And again, you will take birth as my son, as Narada. At that time, I will teach you the transcendental knowledge. So there was one Gandharva by name Chitraketu, who was performing tapasya on the banks of river Pushkara Tirtha, to Lord Shiva to have a son. By satisfied by his prayers, Lord Shiva appeared to him and blessed him that Narada Muni will take birth as his son by name Upabarhana. So as predicted, very soon, wife became pregnant, Chitraketu's wife, and she had their son, and their family priest named him as Upabarhana. The boy grew up to be a great devotee of Vishnu, and Bruhaspati taught him all the Vedic rituals, how to worship Lord Hare. Then Upabarhana was staying in the Himalayan part, engaging in tapasya for satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. So one day, there was one more Gandharva by name Chitraratha who had 50 daughters who were flying by that area. When they saw the beauty of Narada Muni under meditation in Samadhi, they became very much attracted to him. So they all came down and they started offering prayers. So he came out of his meditation and he saw all the 50 women. He also immediately got attracted to that 50 women and he married all of them, took them to his palace, stayed there for many years, enjoying the family life. So one day there was a great Sankirtan program arranged in the heavenly planets. All the Prajapatis have organized worship of Lord Vishnu. So at the time, Gandharvas are singers. So basically, Narada Muni was also invited. So when he went there, so he became little carried away. Instead of singing the glories of Lord Vishnu, he started glorifying the other people there. And he also became infatuated by the women who were all there in his association. He wanted to impress upon them. So in that way, it is said that Upabarhana had offended all the Prajapatis there. So they became very much disturbed and they cursed him. You are unfit to be on the demigod level. You take birth as a Shudra, son of a Shudra. So in that way, he fell down from that position. And in the next life, there was one king of Kanyakubja by name Drumila. Jai Shri Radha Govinda Ki. So he along with his wife Kalavati, they were performing penances on the banks of river Ganges for a child. Because he had renounced his kingdom and he was in the forest, accidentally Drumila passed away. In the meantime, his wife Kalavati had worshipped Kashyapa Muni and by his blessing she became pregnant. So when Drumila passed away, she was about to enter into the funeral fire, Sati Sahagamana. But there was an aerial voice which stopped her. She said, no, you are pregnant, now you cannot enter into Sati Sahagamana, you have to wait. So then, because she has to maintain himself, she was in the forest, she came to a nearby village and started serving one of the head of the Brahmana there in their house as a maid servant. So, because that Brahmana was a great personality, to his house, that Maha Bhagavatas have visited. Because when I read first canto, I had this one specific doubt. Why did Maha Bhagavatas come to their house if they are a Shudra? Because Maha Bhagavatas do not go, because mother is not a great devotee, that they could come and take her Atidya. So, means they were staying in somebody else's house. So, that Brahmana was a great devotee, that's why this Maha Bhagavatas visited their house. And he got the opportunity of serving the Maha Bhagavatas, and by tasting their remnants and by hearing the philosophy from them, this boy picked up the devotion service and he picked up Bhagavatam from them. They explained the principles of Bhagavatam to this boy and this boy became very serious, and he became very inquisitive to practice more. And with that inquisitiveness, he went and did tapasya, and he quit his body, and in the next life he came to the position of Narada Muni. This is how that full cycle of Narada Muni and his previous 3 births were. So in that way, like that, we have many other stories in different Puranas which explain about different ways how the position of the Narada Muni aspect was being fulfilled. Then comes one more personality, Vasistha, a great sage. He is the guru of Lord Ramachandra also. So Vasistha Muni, because he was the teacher in the Surya Vamsha, so Ravana wanted Vasistha also to teach him. But Vasistha declined. So Ravana became very angry, and he captured Vasistha as a prisoner and took him away. So seeing that their guru has been taken away as an imprisonment, there was one king Kuvalayasva of Surya dynasty. He went, fought with Ravana, released Vasistha, and Vasistha became very angry on Ravana, and he cursed Ravana that very soon the family members of Surya dynasty, son Surya Vamsha, will annihilate him and his entire dynasty. So this is one of the curse on Ravana. Ravana had many curses. This is one of which the family members of Surya Vamsha will destroy him. Then Vasistha was married to Arundhati, and they were staying in a forest near Himalayas. They were doing tapasya. So because they had to engage in the deity service, they used to go to the forest, collect some fruits, roots, and all the ingredients which are required for the sacrifice and worship of the Lord. But due to severe summer, the earth became almost in a drought situation. So Arundhati was left alone in the forest to do penances, and these people were searching everywhere for the procurement of ingredients for their service and all. So when she was alone, one day Lord Shiva took the form of a Brahmana and went near Arundhati and requested her for some bhiksha. She replied that there are only, Badrikashram in Himalayas, the specific area, only Badri trees were there. Badri trees means, you know what is Badri tree? Regi Phala. What Shabari gave, Shabari Phala. That is the only trees that are available in that area. She said, these are only the fruits that are available. I don't have any other things. Then Lord Shiva said, no problem. You boil that and you give it to me. So then she placed the fruits on the oven, and she sat there. And because that Lord Shiva came as a Brahmin, and he started explaining to her the various philosophical aspects. So for almost 12 years, that Brahmana was explaining, and without hunger or thirst, 12 years Arundhati was listening to all that philosophical concepts. So when the other sages and all, when they came back after 12 years, then that Brahmana who was there as Lord Shiva, he blessed that lady. She said, you have got more punya than your husbands who went everywhere. Because the association of Vaishnava and hearing Krishna Katha is more auspicious than one individually trying to understand the Lord by engaging in tapasya. And since she had been worshipping that, she had cooked that fruits, Badri fruits in that area, that place further became known as Badrikashrama also, in one way. Then there was one more incident in Ramayana we come across. This is about Vishwamitra, who in his previous ashrama was a king. So one day, with his entire army, he visited the forest. So there they became thirsty, and they approached the ashrama of Vasistha there. So Vasistha was very much pleased because king had come. So he arranged for them a huge royal feast. So Vishwamitra was very much surprised how he was able to arrange a royal feast in a forest with very few facilities. Then Vasistha explained to him that they had a desire cow by name Kamadhenu, by which it was able to fulfill all the requirements. So Vishwamitra very much became attracted by that cow, and he wanted that cow to be taken with him because he wanted to possess the greatest thing. So he said, I'll give you 1 crore normal cows. You give this one cow to me. The king proposed. But Vasistha said, no, I am satisfied with this one cow. I don't want crores of your cows. So then Vishwamitra, then he said, no, all the best things should be possessed by the king. So in that way, you should surrender your cow also to me. But Vasistha flatly denied. So then Vishwamitra, along with his ministers, they planned that they will forcefully take away Kamadhenu. So when they started actually taking Kamadhenu, the Kamadhenu started crying and it prayed to Vasistha, I have taken your shelter, suddenly you are leaving me aside, you are forsaken me. Then Vasistha said, no, I have not forsaken you. The king's force is more strong. I can't do anything. Then she asked, if I can protect myself, are you okay with that? Then Vasistha said, no problem, I don't have any problem. Then from her body, different demigods have come out and they started chasing away all the soldiers of Vishwamitra. So Vishwamitra had to save himself by running away. Then he went, did tapasya, he acquired some power, and again he came here and he wanted to attack Vasistha. Now he released his power in the form of an anger. But Vasistha, by his Brahma tapasya, he immediately able to counteract the capacity of Vishwamitra. So Vishwamitra said, no. So a Brahmana with the highest virtue, Brahma Rishi, is much more capable than a Kshatriya and other Rishis and all. So he went back, did tapasya, worshipped Lord Brahma. Then there were many other stories. He wanted to take revenge. He took revenge in the form of Harishchandra, because Harishchandra was the disciple of Vasistha, by capturing his entire property and many other aspects. So finally, at last point, both of them were fighting. There were many incidences where both of them took the form of birds and they started fighting each other. And finally, Lord Brahma had to come and reveal them back to their original forms. And he said, enough is enough. Both of you started fighting in such a crazy way. So finally, on the instigation of Brahma, Vishwamitra was also given the Brahma Rishi capacity, and Vasistha and everybody accepted that he is a Brahma Rishi, and everything settled down. So this is that story we come across in Ramayana. It's a huge story with various detailing and all. So, but for us to understand what their character is, some aspects, Vasistha is a very personality, sane personality, simple personality. Then we hear of one more Rishi by name Angira, a great devotee. So we see the story in Bhagavatam about with Chitraketu. We know how Chitraketu was having a problem of not having sons. So one day Angira Muni visited him. So Chitraketu was very sad. So he asked, what is your problem? Chitraketu said, I don't have any successor. So Angira blessed him by that. You will have a son who will be the cause of your happiness and who will be the cause of your distress. So he did not inquire what that specific word means, cause of happiness and cause of distress. So he had so many, I think 1 crore wives or something like that. So the first wife, she gave birth, Krutadyuti, she gave birth to the son. But all the other, whether it is 9,99,999 or 99 lakhs, whatever it is, they all became envious, they all became very uncomfortable, their position. So they all poisoned that son, they killed him. Now again he is crying. So this time Angira brought his friend Narada Muni also. So at that time, why are you crying? He said, my son who was born, he died. I had informed you already on the day one, he'll be the cause of your happiness, he'll be the cause of your distress. Now to remove the lamentation of Chitraketu, Narada Muni had revived the dead boy. And he had asked, now your father is crying, your parents are crying, now come back and revive this body. That boy said, I had many parents before this lifetime. So how many parents should I satisfy? This is not the only one of parents. And he explained that in his previous life, he was an ardent enemy of Chitraketu. Because he was killed by Chitraketu, his own point was he had to take revenge on Chitraketu. So this life, he took birth as his son. So what is the meaning of enemy? He wants to give torture to us, he wants to pain us, he wants to make us cry. So what he did, he came as a son, died very early, so that entire life Chitraketu will cry for that boy who passed away. So in that way, he is taking his revenge. So this is the story what we come across. Then further, in the 10th canto, we see once Nanda Maharaj wanted to celebrate a festival, and they all went to Ambikavana. So after worshipping and having stayed there, they all took rest near the forest there. Suddenly one big snake will come and started swallowing Nanda Maharaj. So Nanda Maharaj was very much affected, and he started crying for help. The Gopas, they came there, then they started hitting that snake. They took torches, burning torches. It started burning its body, but it is not leaving Nanda Maharaj. So finally, Nanda Maharaj prays to Lord Krishna, please help him. The next moment, Krishna appeared there, and with one kick, he kicked that snake. And that snake immediately shed that body and accepted the form of a Gandharva, who was named as Vidyadhara. So then, his bodily features were so beautiful, and he was looking lustrous, effulgent. Then he was having a garland with the golden necklaces. He offered obeisances to Lord Krishna and stood with humbly offering prayers to Lord Krishna. Then Krishna wanted to teach all of us what is that perspective, why he became a snake. So he asked that Gandharva, who are you and why did you accept this form of an abominable thing? Then he explained, in his previous birth he was known by a Gandharva by name Vidyadhara, who was known all over the world for his beauty. Because of his personality and beauty, he became little proud. One day when he was traveling, he came across Angira Muni, who was ugly because of his engaged in tapasya. They did not take care of the body because they were not bodily conscious. Then he criticized Angira for his ugliness. So Angira became very angry, and you said, because you are saying me as ugly, you become the ugliest creature, that is snake. That's why he cursed him. Then when he realized his mistake, he fell down at the feet of Angira Muni and asked for reversing of the curse. He said, no, there is no chance, because once done, it is done. You will get an opportunity in one way by associating with the Lord Krishna, and when you swallow Nanda Maharaj, he will come and kick you and he will deliver you from this curse. So this story we come across in Krishna book. So similarly, yesterday when we went to our Vaikuntha hill, the deities which were worshipped there were Srinivasa, Rajadiraja Govinda, and the Utsava deity was Lord Krishna. He was known as Rajagopala. So there, J.C. Prabhu was explaining about the pastime. This is in reference to Mannargudi. There is a place in Tamil Nadu near Kumbakonam. So this specific place is known as Dakshina Dwaraka, where Lord Krishna had given an opportunity for two sages. So they were known as Gopila and Gopralaya. There were the two sages who were great devotees of the Lord. At the end of Dwapara Yuga, they wanted to have physical darshan of the Lord in Dwaraka. So they took their austerities walking towards Dwaraka. But when they reached near Dwaraka, Narada Muni informed them that Lord Krishna had wound up his pastimes and Dwaraka is submerged in water. So then they started crying, then they started feeling that they were unfortunate, they could not have darshan of the Lord. So Narada Muni, feeling compassionate upon them, he guided them to go to Dakshina Dwaraka, where when they meditate, when they get an opportunity, they will be able to have darshan of the Lord. So as ordered by Narada Muni, they came to this Mannargudi area and they started offering prayers and tapasya for Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna, being very much satisfied by their tapasya for many years, he appeared before them. And they requested the Lord, we missed your leelas, we wanted to have darshan of your leelas. So to satisfy them, Lord enacted this pastime of again re-exhibiting all the various leelas which he had performed in his Krishna leela. He had shown 32 pastimes there. The first one was the form which he had appeared in front of Devaki and Vasudeva. Which is that form? Vasudeva feature, four-armed form, Vishnu form. So that is what the form, what we see as Srinivasa, that is exact form. And the last form of the 32nd was, he was with Rukmini and Satyabhama. This is the specific form. So that in between the 32 forms were all shown, like the 32 forms were like, I'll just give. First one is Paravasudeva, the second one is deliverance of Putana, then Yashoda fondling and Krishna sucking her breast, then fourth one is showing Vishwarupa, the fifth one was playing with Yashoda, sixth one was dancing for butter, then sixth one was taking cows for rearing, Sixth one is stealing butter. Eighth one. Ninth one was Kannan near Punnai tree. Then Venugopala. Then Krishna tied to the wooden motor. Then standing on his hand, like on a stick, which is for cow herding, when he went for the cows. Then it is sharing the butter with others, monkeys and cowherd boys, milking the cows, then saying Vatsasura, dancing on Kaliya, then Krishna along with Rukmini Satyabhama, then Madana Gopala, then his four-armed form when he showed to gopis in Rasa dance. So then his Dashavataram which he had shown to all the cowherd boys, then enjoying feast with all the cowherd boys, then lifting Govardhana hill, then Brahma Vimohana Leela, so then Gopika Vastraparana Leela, then Krishna with Satyabhama and Rukmini going for Parijata tree, then Krishna in the Tulabhara Seva, then killing of Kovalaya Pida, then playing various musical instruments, then he went as an emissary to solve the dispute between Pandavas and Kauravas, then Gita-upadesham to Arjuna as Parthasarathi, then then there was playing games with the gopis. Then last one was standing in a posture between Rukmini and Satyabhama, with his hand holding the danta of Kovalaya Pida, the stick, flute, and various other aspects. In that way, he had shown these 32 forms. So what is so unique about this Utsava deity? Krishna, in one earring, he has a male earring, other one is like a female earring. He's like half man, half woman, like that. He's dressed like that. A bangle and one earring. So the story behind this is, one day Krishna wanted to test gopis. Who will take bath faster and who will dress themselves? So all the gopis and Krishna, they started bathing and immediately decorating. So Krishna, out of curiosity to win faster, he started messing up their clothes so that they will not get faster. In the meantime, his clothes also got messed up. So he wore his clothes and he put one his earring and one of the gopis' earring and one of gopis' bangles. So when gopis saw that Krishna is decorated like with one long earring and one short earring, they all started laughing. They all enjoyed that the woman earring on Krishna were also looking very beautiful. So that same mood is the Utsava deity of Rajagopala. So in that way, all the sages had all the darshan of these 32 pastimes. They became very much satisfied and they prayed to the Lord to stay in this specific area. This specific area is called as what is that flower? Champakaranya. That whole area was full of champaka trees. So it's called as Champaranya. The Lord stayed there and gave an opportunity for various people, for the future generations, to have darshan of the Lord and have the mercy. So in that way, the same deities now have been installed in Vaikuntha Hill. It's a great opportunity to understand the Lord at various places, the pastimes what Lord had done for various opportunities, for giving opportunity for the devotees. In that way, we, by hearing, we develop that attachment towards the Lord. In the association of devotees, when we practice, we become perfect and we go back home, back to Godhead. So I'll stop here. Any questions or doubts? Garandhara Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki, Jagat Guru Śrīla Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanand.